Good day, I'm Ed McMillan with Key Services, and welcome to our tech session on troubleshooting the Epson TM-U220B printer. To begin troubleshooting, the first thing we want to do is ensure that we have the power properly connected. Now the power connector, the PS180 that Epson makes for this printer, has a flat portion and a rounded portion. When inserting the power cord, ensure that the flat portion goes toward the bottom of the printer. This will ensure that no pins within the connector are damaged while trying to bring the printer online. Now, it's important to note that when it's time to remove this connector, please do not pull the cord, and in fact, don't even pull on the connector. Along the sides of the flat portion is a little sleeve that slides as you lift it. This actually unlocks the connector from the printer and removes it without damage. So let's reinsert it. Secondly, of course, to communicate with your system, you'll use either a serial, parallel, IDN, or Ethernet connector here. Now that we have the printer properly powered, let's check a couple other areas for operational efficiency. The first, the presence of paper and a ribbon. Now note in the paper storage area that there's already a test. This self-test is delivered with every printer purchased or repaired at Key Services. It tests communication as well as the mechanical function of the printer before it leaves the technician's desk. First, let's insert the ribbon. Please notice on the right side of the ribbon area, there is a drive gear. Secondly, notice there's a corresponding gear on the ribbon. You want to position both gears above each other and then press until you feel a click. Occasionally, if the ribbon is not in position, the printer will function normally, the paper will feed normally, and it will cut normally, but there'll be no print on the paper. So please ensure that the ribbon is indeed snapped in securely. Now, let's put paper in. When inserting paper in the Epson 220B, please notice that I have the paper coming toward the front of the printer as I drop it in. With the paper going forward, close the back portion of the printer securely until it locks in place. Now let's close the front portion. Now to remove the excess, pull forward and slightly to the side. Now we're ready to power the printer on. The Epson has a power button located on the right front of the printer and a corresponding power light along the front control panel. The power light will be green if the printer is powered properly and ready for operation. If this light is red, something is wrong with your printer. So first let's check it and see how it powers up. Please notice that the light is indeed green, indicating that the power portion and part of the electronic self-test has been completed and the printer is ready. Now for the self-test, which is the mechanical portion of testing the printer. This typically indicates something is wrong with your printer and it highlights how that printer can be fixed. To do the self-test, first power the printer off. Notice that the third button to the right on the control panel is labeled feed. To run the self-test, I'm going to hold the feed button and turn the printer on at the same time. Typically, you have to hold the feed button down for about 2 seconds after you hear the printer start to engage, and that will start the self-test. First, I'll turn the printer power off. Now, I press the feed button and power the printer on. Now, if your printer properly runs the self-test and functions the cutter, you have a mechanically sound printer. So what we'll do now is move on to the communication portion of this troubleshooting series. For communication configuration, we roll the printer over onto its back. This will provide access to this single plate covering those 2 banks of communication dip switches. Simply remove this one screw to gain access to the switches. Now you can clearly see that they're easily accessible for rocking them either into the on or the off position. It's our recommendation that if you have a 220B printer in your restaurant, remove the plate from the one that is currently communicating with your system and match these settings. Now, the reason your printer may come back from repair with the dip switches changed is that our diagnostic software many times requires that those switches be changed to work with our test bed. Now that we've got these set, we can put the plate back in place. If you do not have a printer in your restaurant that you can match the dip switch settings to, please communicate with your help desk, and they will let you know what the communication parameters are for your system. Every printer that Key Services ships comes with a mini manual. In that manual on page 2 will be these settings. Note again the dip switches and the 2 sets of rows telling you where to set them. A quick shortcut: typically, you select 9600 baud, 8 bits, no parity, and 1 stop bit. I hope that our tech session on the TM-U220B has been beneficial. If it hasn't, please feel free to contact our customer service line at 336-768-4400, selection 3. Once again, I'm Ed McMillan with Key Services, and we appreciate your business.